Hello, and welcome to another Aimtel webinar. My name is Zach. I'm your host today. What, why, and how? And also, I'd just like to point out, we actually just finished our 6-month free promo with Aimtel. So for the month of April, if you're a new user, you got 6 months for free. So if you're a brand new user right now, you're like, oh no, we just missed that. Never fear. There's actually going to be a promotion for being on this webinar that you can use in signing up and getting going with Aimtel. So stick around to the end and I'll make sure you've got that coupon code and you can take full advantage of everything you see today. So like I said, we have a 6-month promo, so that we've got a very big influx of new users and whatnot. So yeah, this is definitely going to be geared to that. But if you're an existing user or you're even a user who's just feel like they're trying to get to grips with it, this is for you as well. There is definitely value in this for you. And maybe at the end, I'm going to go over some, I say maybe at the end, I will be going over some strategies and examples to take your journey with Aimtel. Without further ado, let's jump straight in. So what are web push notifications? Well, website push notifications are, first of all, different from app notifications because they are based from a website, a domain. They are sent to users that have opted in to receive them. And that sentence really does cover it. They are notifications that are sent to people that opt in at your site. As you can see, they can be sent to mobile and to PC, to most OSs and different things like that. And so there's a lot of variation and things that you can do. You can have a title, you can have a body, you can have up to 2 call to actions. You can even have custom icons and custom large images, support up to about 500 by 300 pixels, just if you're curious about the size. All of it is customizable to your brand, to your campaign, whatever it is, and Aimtel will help you out in getting that set up. Bit of history about web push notifications. They're relatively new marketing channel. This year, I just found out that we are turning 5 years old, Aimtel and web push notifications. Aimtel has been around basically since the start. 5 years is a relatively short amount of time, especially when you compare that to email or SMS marketing channels. There's definitely pros to using web push notifications, and none of this is meant to sort of derail email or speak bad about email or SMS marketing, but it's basically Aimtel and web push notifications were created based upon the pain points from email and SMS. So a few of them are, there's no spam folder with web push notifications. You don't need to try and get it in their primary inbox. You don't need to, oh, are they going to be getting this? Are they going to be seeing it? No, 99% of people nowadays have a phone, and so you're going to be guaranteed that their notifications are coming across their phone. There's no data sharing. Another big concern at the moment with email is, I don't want to give my personal email. I don't want that to be shared around. Well, since when you opt in, which we'll cover more in a second, when you opt in, subscriber ID is made that's anonymous, and so there's no sort of any data to share. And this is a big one, especially compared to SMS. There's no compliance laws really, or very few. And anyways, it's not you, it's the browsers who have to adhere to these compliance guidelines anyways. But with SMS, for example, if you don't have a clear unsubscribe route in SMS, you can potentially rack up thousands of dollars in fines. And so they're just a few reasons why web push notifications, what they are, why they're useful, sort of thing. So the opt-in, this is the absolute key when it comes to web push notifications, and one of the main perks and reasons why you should do it. It's a one-click opt-in. Once they click, like I said, they generate an anonymous subscriber ID. There's no personal data entry. There's no asking for emails. There's no asking for numbers. It's literally a click of a button. Another really great concept to grasp here is, although you control the subscriber ID, it's very easy for your user, if they're done with push notifications, to unsubscribe. You don't, like I said, there's no unsubscribe link or stop messaging that you need to have on there. So it's just a very useful thing to know is, they can unsubscribe and subscribe easily. Or I should say, they own the unsubscription. So I want to show an example site here. So this is a native opt-in prompt to Chrome. Blinds.com is a Home Depot subsidiary, and they use Aimtel here, and they've opted to use a very simple one-click opt-in. So this is all it is. You go to their site, and this is what it looks like. One click allow, a subscriber ID has been made, and suddenly some data has been tracked to that subscriber ID. Another strategy you can use is custom opt-in prompts. So this is, instead of one-click opt-in, this is 2 clicks. So this is Death Wish Coffee Company, and I used this in last week's webinar because I love it so much. I really think this is a great and very simple strategy. So all they've done, they've used Aimtel to make a custom opt-in prompt, and it's Death Wish Coffee and you want to receive notifications on deals and sales. Nope or hell yeah. And it just perfectly fits their brand. I really think they did a good job with this. And this can just boost it, and you click on hell yeah, and then the native prompt is still there. So that's 2-click opt-in. Once you've opted in, some data has been tracked back on the site. So we'll just click on one here, and just simple basic stuff. No personal identifiable information is tracked just yet, but you can track that if you'd like. So just saying that to cover any privacy concerns as well. Very simple stuff, things like, you know, their browser language, on their, whether on Chrome or Safari, whether on mobile or whatever, and location as well. Geocaching obviously is all done, you know, with Google Analytics, and it's exactly the same with Aimtel as well. That's all tracked automatically for you. So once they've opted in, they are now on your site, on your subscriber list, on Aimtel dashboard. So then the question becomes, well, why are web push notifications useful now I've got the opt-in? Well, here's a few, and I've got a few written down in front of me as well. Obviously, the big one I just covered is compared to email or SMS, the user feels like they own the data, which is so key in today's day and age. I mean, I'm from the UK, I live in the States, and I can tell you that when businesses had to deal with the GDPR compliance laws and stuff, it was, you know, a nightmare. That it was sink or swim basically when it came to internet marketing. And the great part is Aimtel is completely GDPR compliant, and it's because the user owns the subscribe and unsubscribe button, and you know, whatever data you track obviously is all anonymously tracked to the subscriber ID. Another big one that I've got written down here is brand awareness. You can get your brand in front of the user. The example I like to use here is, let's say you are a women's fashion site, e-commerce site, and a user opts into your site and they're browsing, but then they're like, okay, no, I want to look at a different site, and they go to a competitor site. Well, all of a sudden, if you set it up correctly, you can send them a notification 15 minutes after they opt in, or whatever it may be, or a day after they opt in, and they can be on, even on a competitor site, and your brand can pop across their screen, cause their phone to vibrate, and you know, you can get the top of the mind marketing, and it's so key to begin to capitalize upon that. And you can even do brand awareness when they're not even near your website or even on their phone. They could be outside doing yard work and their phone buzzes and they see a notification from your website. Top of the mind marketing, brand awareness. We say here as well, boosting traffic and engagement. This is highly important. There's no inbox to check. There's no text to check or links to click on. It's literally, you just tap on the notification from the lock screen or even from your desktop, whatever you're doing, and you can get traffic back to your site, get that engagement up, get the retention efforts. Growing your subscriber list, obviously this is far easier to do than email and SMS. You know, we've covered the opt-in prompt. It's one click. There's no data to share. So growing your subscriber list is definitely easier to do. And of course, converting more visitors. Use the hyper-personalized messages sent to visitors at the right time. We'll cover those more in detail. The last one that's not here that I want to cover is the concept that it works in every step of your funnel, your marketing funnel, whether that be for e-com, for a publisher, for a sports or betting site, whether that be for, I don't know, even if you're just trying to run a content site, a recipe site, there's value for push notifications at every step. If you're a pre-lead that mainly focuses on email marketing, right? You're a pre-lead and you're trying to get people to use the email. They visit your site, they opt in, but they don't use their emails. Send them a notification to say, hey, you didn't enter your email, get 20% off, so on and so forth. It can even work all the way down at the bottom of that marketing funnel with people who are post-conversion. Let's say you're a company that sells protein powder, Okay, yeah, and it's like a monthly thing. You want them to come back to your site and buy next month's protein powder or razors or whatever that may be. Well, you can track that they purchase, send them an automatic notification 30 days after they purchase saying, hey, it's that time of again to buy protein powder, buy whatever it may be. So all the way from the pre-lead all the way down to the post conversions, top and bottom of the funnels areas use for web push notifications. Okay, so how do you use web push notifications? Well, with Aimtel, there's sort of 3 steps that we like to use. There's installation, there's collecting subscribers, and then there's engaging those subscribers. So installing Aimtel, beginning to get the opt-ins, and then sending push notifications. So I want to do a quick example here of just how easy it is to add a website on Aimtel. It's oftentimes people think it's a lot more confusing. It really isn't. So we'll use example site, and obviously your URL will be whatever it is. Make sure to include the HTTPS in there. It's worth noting web push notifications only work when your site is SSL secured. So that's the HTTPS versus just the HTTP by itself. So we use www.examplesite.com. Upload a little icon here. This is just useful to do. So use this one, just this little Aimtel logo. And this is important because if you don't have one set on specific campaigns, this is the notification that will be sent. So it's important to have a brand on. So once this is all set up, we then go to integrating Aimtel. So there's a few different ways that you can integrate Aimtel. If you've a WordPress or a Shopify site, you want to click on these buttons here, respectively, for whatever CMS you're using. If you're a WordPress, we've got a plugin. So don't install with JavaScript, use the plugin. If you're a Shopify user, we've got an app. So go and use the app. There's no coding, nothing like that. Literally, you just install it, log in with the Aimtel account you just made, and link it, and it'll link up nice and easy. Most users, though, who are not using WordPress or Shopify are going to be using the JavaScript. So that's the one I'll be using in this webinar. And it's 2 steps. It's very easy to do. You copy and paste this little tracking code, and then you upload a file into the root directory to make it found at this. So this would be examplesite.com /aimtelworker.js. So if we look at blinds.com, so they've got the copy and pasted code on the back end. But if we search aimtelworker.js, this is what a correct installation should look like. And the easiest way to test if it's working is go to the site and see if you can get the opt-in. So once all those 2 steps have done, and just to give you a sort of time frame, if you've got a dev team, or if you are the dev team, this should take less than 5 minutes. If you aren't a dev team, you're like, coding, what the heck? You know, this should take you 10 to 15 minutes. Feel free, though, to contact Aimtel support at any point, and we'll be more than happy to walk you through the steps and make sure you're up and running, because obviously we want to make sure you're installed correctly from the get-go and there's no deliverability issues. So once you've done that, we'll verify it. And again, you can verify it yourself. Just go to the site and see if you get the opt-in. Well, now you've got an installed site. What should be your next steps, your first steps with Aimtel? And just so you know, that took less than 2 minutes to explain, really. And I mean, with the other work, maybe that's another 5, 10 minutes. So, you know, you're looking at about 10, 15 minutes to install Aimtel, which is fantastic. So much value there. So after that, what's the next step? We'll begin to collect subscribers. And you should be one of those people. If you've not opted into your site, I would highly recommend you go to your site and you opt in. So just click on the allow button. Not only is that helpful in the long run to see what automatic notifications are actually sent in the long run, but it's also useful to send test notifications to yourself. And you can also see that in all subscribers, and then your subscriber. Oh, of course, this is a fake website. Let me go to a real site here. Obviously, you can just go to all subscribers, and then once you've opted in, your subscriber ID. So I haven't opted in, but if I did, my subscriber ID would be here, and you could view all the data that I showed you previously. Well, the next step is going to be creating a welcome notification. So if we jump back into this example site here, a welcome notification is sent immediately after a user has opted in. So I've just opted into blinds.com. So if a welcome notification was set up, an automatic notification would be sent. This one, it doesn't have to be anything complicated. Just it helps get subscribers used to seeing your notifications, and it's so key. And actually, I'm just going to pause for here for a second and say, if you've got any questions, I see a few questions, I've answered a few already, but if you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to just ask them, and I will be more than happy to answer them, either sort of as they come in or more towards the end of the webinar. So yeah, ask away. Welcome notifications. So this could be something like just as simple as thanks for subscribing. You know, thanks for subscribing. And then maybe you want to use, I don't know, I like using this little notification, these little emojis here, which is just a very quick best practice. Use emojis. Little tidbit, notifications with emojis in are 85% more likely to be clicked on. Call it whatever you will. I don't know why that happens. I think it's to do with the color and attention grabbing, but that's the stats. So if you're not using emojis, use emojis. You know, this could be, you know, I think something, now check out our latest products, right? And then, you know, I don't know, maybe you want to use some eyes. You can see what my recents are, what I like using, but, and then this can just be www.examplesite.com/new arrivals, whatever, you know, whatever it may be. Google Analytics, if you use it, you can just click on this button. It will automatically give all the right stuff that you need, and then you just click on activate, and that's it. If someone opts in, they'll send this notification to it, and you don't have to, you know, overthink it, but just it's cool just to, I think just cool just to get that set up and sent out. Okay, the next step, so we've installed correctly, we've set up a welcome automatic notification. What's the next step? Well, this is where I think that the beauty of Aimtel and having a think about all of the different features available to you, or in other words, how to begin building out your web push strategy. So web push features. So we've already talked about the single click opt-in. We've already also talked about the custom opt-in, the 2 clicks. So this is just something to think about that Aimtel allows you to do. Another one is personalization. We touched on that earlier on in the webinar. You can track things like first name, like cities or whatever, and you can begin to use that dynamically in web push notifications. And really the crowning jewel of Aimtel, what really sets us apart is our automation. There's so much that you can automate with web push, and you know, whether that be triggered or RSS or whatever that may be. Jumping into some specific strategies, you may want to set up a welcome drip notification. So that means you send one immediately and you set up another one to go a day later, or and so on and so forth. Similar to email drip or SMS drip, notification drips are no different. You know, you send one initially and then you send one a day later and one a week later, and the triggers can vary based on whatever that is, whether they click on them or whether you want to just waterfall them very basically. This is a very, very useful strategy to employ. Personalized content in notifications. We just touched on that with first names, but also I like to say targeted notifications always work better than general notifications. This isn't saying you shouldn't use general notifications, you know, catch all, but think about how you want to start bucketing your subscribers, whether that's by location, whether that's by mobile or desktop, or whether that's by, you know, activity rate, whether they, you know, viewed a page on a site. Begin to personalize the notifications that they're going to get. So segment and personalize. And probably one of the most important ones is notification timing. Timing is key. It's so important. And here there's 2 things. Think about your vertical and think about your user. If you're a news site, right, the news vertical, you want to be sending out headlines in the morning when they're drinking their coffee, when they're on their phone scrolling mindlessly, and they're like, oh, I just got a notification from my favorite news site. I'm going to click on that. You want that to be sent at 7, 8, 9 a.m. in the morning. I know I covered this in the last webinar, but that is so important as well. Think about the timing, think about the vertical. Some web push examples to go with that, and some maybe some automated stuff, but here, abandoned cart or order updates and things like that, especially for an e-com. I had one client, we got a call, this was a couple of weeks ago now. I had a call set up with them, and by the end of the call, we'd sent like, I think 10 automatic abandoned cart notifications. And over one weekend, they generated I think it was over $1,500 off one abandoned cart notification. And that took 10 minutes of work, and they were sending notifications while I was on the call with them. So abandoned carts, if you're an e-com, this should be your #1 priority. We've got a template for it and really good documentation to help you get that set up. So if you've not done that, get that going. Items shipped, order updates, that's another example of really useful. RSS feed or blog post updates, that's all automatic, and all you need is an RSS feed URL. You can begin to send notifications for content, drive traffic back to your site, increase those clicks, get users back on the site, and if you're a monetizing platform or whatever, use the feeds, automatic feeds, and so on and so forth. And talking about the top and the bottom of the funnel here, referral requests or review requests, automatically send incentivized referral request notifications. Well, let's say that they've bought a product. You want to send them a notification 1 week later saying, hey, review your product here. And it's a really easy automatic way to get those reviews. Another one is a manual repeating campaign for a weekly sale or weekly new products. That's really easy to do also. Updates for your site or for announcements and things like that. Definitely some things, web push examples to use. So all of that being said, I hope that's given you a sort of a quick start here and some strategy and ideas to get going. I'm going to answer any questions. So I see a few here that come in, but if you've got any more, feel free to ask the questions. But next steps, let's say you're a brand new client and you're like, okay, this is the first I've ever heard of Aimtel. What do I do? Go to aimtel.com, click on get started free down here, make an account, install Aimtel on your site, do like I did, and then schedule a demo with us. Request a demo, either myself or one of our sales or support team will be on a call with you and will help you walk you through any questions you have, and then begin sending notifications. Opt in and send yourself some notifications and see what's working. I think a key phrase there as well, if you're an existing client, so this isn't just for new ones, but if you're an existing client, optimize and adjust. If you're seeing, oh, this click, this isn't getting much clicks, this isn't optimal, change it up a little bit, add a different emoji, use different images, whatever, and then adjust your strategy. Okay, cool. Right, questions here. So can I install with GTM? Okay, so GTM is Google Tag Manager. Can I install? Yes, you can. So if we go to the tracking code here and the installation steps, so adding the tracking code, you can do that via Google Tag Manager. Fairly straightforward, and if you're familiar with Google Tag Manager, you'll know how to do that, but yes, you can. But the uploading the service worker file, you'll still have to do outside of it into your root directory. And the reason for that is your service worker file enables off-site sending. So it means that it allows Aimtel to send if you're not on your site. So it's absolutely crucial for deliverability, and you need to make sure that's on. Yes, you can install Google Tag Manager. Another one is talking about timing. When should I send automatic notifications? Okay, yeah, great question here. So obviously that's going to be different for every vertical, different for every campaign. So there's no one answer fits all here, unfortunately. I wish there was, but there isn't. But some advice I can give you. Timing is key, so always be thinking about it when you're creating a new campaign. And the second thing is opt into your site. And over time, you'll see what and when automatic notifications are sent. Begin to use that for your advantage, think about the user experience. Think about when you'd want your abandoned cart notification to come through. Think about when the most opportune time for you to purchase clothes or whatever that may be. And just so you know, welcome notifications, they almost always work better when they're sent immediately, just so you know. So always send welcome notifications immediately. That's just another one talking about timing. All right, I don't see any more questions in here, so I'm just going to give a little second just to, as I close out here, just to, if anyone else wants to ask any more. And yeah, like I said, if you are a brand new user and you're like, how do I get started? You want to use the code best webinar. So best webinar, and you can use that in settings. This is for new users here, and obviously I'm on a team plan, but you'll be the team owner, and there'll be a button in settings that says edit bill information. You can click on add promo code down at the bottom, and yeah, you'll be able to get all of that. I'm also uploading the handout that I used today. So it's the Aimtel Webinar Beginner's Guide. You can download that yourself and do it yourself and see what's going on. So you can download that and follow along with the guide there getting installed. Okay, great. I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to close this one out. We're actually going to be having a few more webinars coming up in the next few weeks, so watch this space, and we'll make sure that you're optimizing and you're getting the fullest experience you can out of Aimtel. So thank you so much for tuning in. Best webinar, one word for brand new users. Yeah, thank you so much for seeing you all. Stay safe. Bye-bye.